I was willing to separate. It's July 1st, guys.
He gives me his knowledge and his wisdom, so it's like those are the things that people cannot pay for.
Action!
Yeah.
All right, guys. So today we are talking about the power of preparation?
Are you prepared?
I'm prepared. What's up, you guys? It's your girl Taylor.
What up? It's Aspen.
And welcome to the Flow Podcast.
Yes, whether it's career, relationships, self-development, success, whatever it got to do with you, our goal is to help inspire you to flow in all things.
Our deepest intention is to help you align with your God-given purpose, talents, capabilities, and so much more.
Everything.
Let's get into the episode.
Let's do it.
All right, so of course we're going to do a pre-made card. So today's daily word is power and peace are not synonymous.
Yes, the deep thought, it says, if God isn't in your life, things can get chaotic no matter how successful you are. We must invite God into our successes just as much as we invite him into our failures. Why is it easier for us to call on God when we hit rock bottom, but harder to call on God when we make it to the top? Question mark. And today's daily prompt says, today celebrate your wins with God. Showing gratitude and appreciation with God will open doors for greater blessings, which I think is so important. Like, a lot of times we want to celebrate our wins with our friends, but celebrate your win with God. That is so good. No, yeah, that's so good. That should be an episode topic one day.
Celebrating your wins with God.
Yeah.
Period. So we're going to be talking about how we essentially prepare to become one in a relationship with each other. Basically what our singleness looks like leading up to the moment that we started talking and getting to know each other. So what's so funny?
Nothing big.
I'm confused.
No, come on, let's go. I'm happy. Yes, sir.
Very joyous, I see. It's July 1st.
Jesus' joy. He shows up every time.
Basically, I guess we can kind of start the conversation off like this because before we start, so we started talking around September,
Yeah, September.
And in August, we were both in our own separate periods of isolation.
Yeah.
So at this time, obviously, that was personal, so we didn't know that about each other. But I know for me, in August, I was just like, starting August 1st, I did the Daniel fast, and I was like, I really just want to cut out and separate myself from everybody. And I really want to, I don't know, just get closer to God, honestly, and just establish my relationship. I was just tired of doing the same thing and dealing with the same types of people over and over again. So I guess that would be called like a breaking point.
Yeah, or just a breaking point or a preparation point, no pun intended.
Yeah.
I feel like mine was similar in the sense I was just in a place where I was like, wanted that same desire of like, I'm tired of having or doing or going after things without an aim or without intention. So like, like the cycles or patterns, but it's just like, all right, God, like I believe you're calling me for more, as well as like, I want to not just say I want it, but I actually want to experience what that looks like on a consistent basis. But I know it takes work for me. So it's just like you said, just having a desire to like want ultimately what God wants for us. So
yeah,
I was in that space, and it was just preparation and just really like, you don't know what it looks like, but you can have the vision of what you want to experience. And like once you get that vision of, all right, this is what I want. I don't want this anymore. I want to experience this type of joy or this type of relationship, or just like a relationship with yourself to be able to extend to someone else in like your environment and your career. So like preparation. So
that's good. I think for me too, that like even in that point and period, I was just like, I know who God is, but I don't really know who God is. And I was just like, man, like I really need to dive deeper into who he is, try to get a better understanding, and really just kind of like build that relationship. Because I was like, I don't really have, I felt so far away from God that it was just kind of like, I don't know, I just felt so far away. Like I wasn't really plugged in a church at that moment because around that time it was kind of hard to find one because of COVID. So
it's interesting. We were actually going to the same church but different services and didn't know it until after the fact we talked about it.
Yeah. Yes. We don't go there anymore. But yeah, so I don't know. Like it was very pivotal for me because like, I guess going into my fast, like at the end, and I also didn't know that I was preparing to be in a relationship. Yeah. It wasn't my intention to do that. It was more so my intention to get closer to God, and then that's just the end of it. Anything that came along with it or was removed from me, I was like okay with it. But at the end of the fast, I just felt so full and whole, and I just felt so much. I don't know. I just really truly felt God's grace and mercy. Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. But just thinking about the same time, I mean, it's like I said, it was very similar, but on a different like side of it, obviously. But like, yeah, I just wanted it. Like you said, like I felt like I was, of course, close to God always, but just like I didn't want to feel like too comfortable where I was in my life to the point where I'm like, I know that there's more. I want to experience more, as well as like I want to be able to be found ready when whatever opportunity presents itself. Because I'm like, hey, we're mid to late 20s, and it's just like I'm like, all right, this is what I want. This is what I want to experience. So it's just like I'm not expecting a handout. However, I know it's going to take or require responsibility on my end of it. So that definitely was a season where I just wanted to embrace it, as well as to know that it was, or it could be beforehand, like you don't know what it looks like. However, it's just like I know what I want to experience. So as I go with that vision I have in my mind, like I can kind of see and take a step of like, this is what I want to experience. Take a step. This is what I want to experience, and just preparation.
Okay, so let's talk about before the preparation.
Yeah.
So.
Go ahead.
So I'll give you guys my whole spiel. So there's this guy that I was talking to over this, like right before August, not right before, like kind of in the summer or whatever. Yeah. And I told him that it was really important for me to, long story short, don't settle. And I feel like when you don't settle, you put the your expectations on God's shoulders, and he's going to handle that. Yeah. That's just some period. So it was some people thought I was really shallow for what I said, but I was like, I don't want this, and I knew what I wanted. So it's just like one of those things where like figuring out what you want and not settling for someone that cannot give you what you want. So long story short, I was like, I don't think I could be with you because you don't even like working out. Like the thought of going to the gym was not any type of appeasing to him, and I was just like, man, like this is concerning to me because health is so important to me, and I feel like you have to have some sort of exercise in your life. You know what I mean? And that's just so important. And at that moment, I was like, you know what? This is not for me. I felt the Holy Spirit telling me to tell him the truth, and just be like, you know what? This is not going to work out. And then that was the end of the conversation. We just never talked after that, to be honest. And then just in that moment, I think prior to that situation, I would always just like kind of compromise. And I think at that point where I had like no compromise, I fully trusted God. I'm like, there's got to be more. Like, there's got to be someone that's just literally for me that understands what I'm saying, and not saying that what I'm saying is shallow. That's good. Yeah. So I just trusted that, and I just held on to it. And then I've also seen other people that get exactly what they want with the person that they're with. So like being able to witness that from a marital standpoint, I'm just like, man, like if God was able to provide them their special somebody that checked off all of their lists, why not me? So it's just like I was willing to separate from the things that I would have been settling for. Yeah,
that's so good. I feel like on my end of it too, it was like I said, just even sitting in this moment, like I can't say anything bad about the person. However, it was a thing with me. It's like, because I feel like settling has like, it's a general topic, but you can be very specific of like, some things can be good. However, is it a God thing?
Yeah, or it's just not just for you.
Yeah, exactly. So like,
settling is relative.
Anything can be good for you, so to speak. However, like when it's God for you, it's exactly for you.
Right.
So I'm like,
tailor-made to you.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
Tailor-made. But so that was the thing. Like I just felt like it was something, but like to be honest, like I didn't feel like I was intentional with that, because it just wasn't. I didn't have that confirmation internally of like, this is it. However, I was in a place trying to figure other things out too, just like career-wise and like my next step, so to speak. So it was just like everything felt so clouded until like I was able to say, you know what, I need to take this time to myself, for myself, because God, like maybe this is a way of filling voids of just like, you know, like I'm really not into everything that I want to be into. Like I wasn't in class for career, not saying like that matters, but just like, well, it does matter. Let me stop that. Everything in my life, I feel like it was like a will where like these are the sections of my life. However, like I wasn't deeply invested in everything as a balance as I wanted to. So I'm like, let's go back to square one and like really just say, hey God, I know that you want this one-on-one time to give me your blueprint for how I should, go forward to get to that plan that you ultimately have gave me you've given me as a desire. So like, that was the whole thing, to be honest. Like, I just wasn't truly, it just wasn't like, I know God wanted more for me,
Yeah.
One-on-one time.
Yeah, and I think that's really important too, because when you know that God wants more for you, what did he say last time? He was like, you got to take yourself seriously. Yeah. And I think when you get to the point where you take yourself seriously, you understand that God literally wants to bless you, and you have to take yourself seriously enough to understand that. A lot of times we be playing. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, because
for real,
to be able to look back, it's like you question yourself, but you don't judge yourself. Like, yo, what was I doing? Like, why did I waste time? Because time is so valuable, and it's just like, we can always look back in these moments and say, like, I wonder what if I would have started, or if I was like this the whole time, was so focused. But like, I feel like there are a lot of lessons along the way that you cannot, take for granted, as well as like knowing like everything has good to it. And it's just a thing where it's like, once you have a greater responsibility to live out that life, or live out those habits, or that lifestyle, look like, all right, God, I want you in everything. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, once he gives you or graces you to get to the other side of it, it's like, all right, now I've given you the option. I've lended you my grace. My mercy is everlasting. However, it's not an excuse. Like, what will you do with it? Will you allow me to prepare you, so to speak? So, yeah.
I think that's so good. But I also think too, I guess the commonality between both of our preparations was we were doing it to get closer to God on a separate level. And I feel like that's so important before you even start, I wouldn't even say talking, before you even start dating around, because it's easier for you to discern whether that person is for you or not for you like quickly. And I think that's really important too, because time is, like people say all the time is really not on our side. And we don't have that much time. So you want to make sure that you take yourself seriously enough to take your time seriously, and what you have to offer seriously. And also too, like during the I guess isolation period or fasting period, I was asking God to truly like take out everything in me that would not be good for or suitable for a relationship. And I feel like that's really important too, because a lot of times we're just like, oh, it didn't work out because this person did this, that, and the third. But a lot of times we can contribute to the chaos in the environment, just because that's the type of environment that we're in. And it's not always 100% the other person's fault. You know what I'm saying? So like there are things that we may need to ask God to reveal to us, and things like that. Sometimes there's this book, which I would highly recommend you guys to read. It's called The Defining Decade. But we put this on our Instagram. But basically there are a list of questions that you should ask someone that you are dating. And it doesn't necessarily have to be someone that you are taking that seriously. If you are dating, I mean, you should be dating for marriage. But in that moment, like, I would say ask those questions up front. We'll link it down below, but ask those questions up front, because it makes it easier for you to just form an opinion without judgment. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can ask the questions, and it's no hard feelings, because you guys are just like on like your second or third date. So it's just like, okay, if they answer the questions, that's their answer, then it's easier for you to, just kind of move on. Pass me my phone, because I'm going to go through some of the questions.
Discernment is so key. And to piggyback off of what she just said, as well as what I said before that, it's a thing where, like, I just got to the point, and I'm constantly, God is gracing me to want that consistently, where I'm like, God, I truly do want you in everything. You know what I'm saying? Because I talk to my friends all the time. Like, I truly deem, like, anything that is good is a God thing. And what I mean when I say that is the fact that, like, yo, you want love, you want joy, you want success. In a way, success. I believe that there's a such thing as godly success, as well as, like, the things that we want are in longevity. Like, you don't want to just get married to get divorced. You don't want to become wealthy just to lose everything. So it's just like, God is eternal. He is Alpha and Omega. So it's like, God, I want you to protect the things that you give me. And, like, nobody wants heartbreak. Nobody wants poverty. Nobody wants lack or to experience those things. So, like, when you look at God, he is full, and, like, he's the same. So he is consistent. So I'm like, God, I want you in my relationship. I want you in my career. Like, I don't want to just like think I can do this on my own, because that's just aimless thinking, and that's how the devil wants you to think, like you can do everything. That's pride. So definitely want God in everything for sure.
Okay, so some of the questions are, what are your thoughts on marriage? And then like in these questions, it'll segment like there's sub questions. So that's like one question. Mm-hmm. Do I make you a better person? Are you religious? Do you regularly or ever attend religious ceremonies or events? How are we going to manage our money? Do you want to have kids? What do you think your sex life would be like? Which is obviously if you're married, what have you. Do we share the same political ideas? Like all of these things are so important. Just kind of like asking those questions. But a lot of people don't ask these questions, and then they get into the relationship and they're confused, or there's like conflict. So it's just so important to ask questions to be on one accord getting into a relationship, and then also staying on one accord while you're in a relationship. Mm-hmm. But I do want to ask you, because Bae wrote a whole prayer.
Yeah, I did. Where is it? You should go get it.
No, let's say that for our wedding.
Okay, let's do that.
But you can tell them like what you prayed for.
I have like this, like a wooden prayer request thing I got from like Hobby Lobby or something like that. It's in my closet. However, like I wrote down, like I enjoy writing down my prayers, because I believe like when I write things down, not just the power of it, however, like it allows me to be very specific in terms of detail. So like I got prayers up there now for like things I wanted to happen that has like come to pass, as well as like things I gotta actually check it. It's been a minute, but like in terms of relationship, like I wrote down the person, the qualities of the person, of the wife that I want to marry one day, but like to what that looked like. So I was like, I wish you would go get it, but it's okay.
No, I was talking about the like prayer. We were at prayer night.
Oh, prayer night. So that's okay, cool. So yeah, y'all find out about what I just said later. However, so prayer night, it was at church. It was in September, and I think it was called Yom Kippur. We'll put it in the description.
It is Yom Kippur.
But basically, I went to that prayer service. It was a Thursday night. It was in September. It's yearly, that specific holiday. But like I really took.
It's a Jewish holiday.
It's a Jewish holiday. But yeah, like I was saying, I went to the prayer service with the expectancy of like, and this is the point. I believe this is the power of a genuine asking from God, because I feel like even in these moments I have to remind myself, like, you don't have to talk to God in such a way of like, oh, I need to say everything right, or I need to make sure I ask you, versus like, God, here's my heart, here's my desires, and I expect you. It's not defiant, but it's just like, God, this is who you are. I'm your child, and like, I want to be right with you. I want to be in right standing. I want to be blameless in your sight, and I know that you truly are the source for everything that I need. So like, I literally cover my career, my finances, my future relationship, my relationship with my friends, my family. It's just like me as a vessel here on the earth. Like I just wanted that to be in good standing. So literally everything I prayed about that night, before the end of that month, God had introduced to me. So like,
Luna's snoring over here, y'all. I don't know if y'all can hear her,
but yeah, like, so like career wise, that was the biggest opportunity that came my way, that was sealed for me, and that's what I covered. Like, God, like, I know you placed this inside of me, so like I just need you to move, because like Zechariah 4:6, like, it's not by my might, not by my power, but by God's Spirit. So like I had to invite His Holy Spirit into my life, into my circumstances, into my career, into my future relationship, because like I just got tired of thinking like, well, I can do this, and I mean, it could have worked out, but it's just like, again, I want things in longevity. So like, everything I prayed for that night, like He literally answered, and I feel like that's something I practice whenever I do think about it in terms of gratitude, because I'm like, all right, God, like, there's so much that I'm still expecting from you. However, if I look at my life in this very moment, like, you've established me in my career, you've given me the person that I want to marry, and it's like, I have peace, I have joy, I have like, He gives me His knowledge and His wisdom. So it's like, those are the things that people cannot pay for. Yeah. So in terms of the things that I'm still expecting from Him, I remind myself, God, you're always working on my behalf. But as my life in this very moment, I have no complaints. So like, that's the thing of just truly understanding, like, no, the peace that you give to me, this world cannot give. However, you protect me, you send me out into the world, and it's just like, you're working on my behalf, and you're preparing me to, for when those things come, when you grace me with those things on his time schedule. But yeah.
That's good. For me, I didn't really have a prayer.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, God, you said in the word, it says you'll give me a suitable mate. And like when you look at the word that's suitable, that means it's literally perfectly made for you. And because I knew that, I just really held God to his word. And I think
I'm so glad you did.
a lot of me too. No, for real, y'all, because it was ghetto. Okay. Anywho. But yeah, I just want to encourage you guys to also just hold God to his word. Like literally, he is a man that chases after his word. Like he will do anything to make his word come into fruition because that's the person that he is. He always keeps his word. Yeah. So just remember that he's going to find someone that's suitable for you. What?
And I was just thinking, yeah, it's true.
What?
I was thinking to the fact, if you guys go back to the How We Met episode, the fact that we met for the first time, our paths crossed in 2017, is just like, again, a couple episodes back, we were talking about like, God always showed David what he was doing in his life. Glimpses. Yeah,
before he stepped into it. Yeah,
so it's just like, I'm like, you don't really just meet anybody by happenstance. Like, in that moment, we like, oh, nice to meet you, but like, God knew, like, just wait a couple years.
Yeah, and it's funny, because
I was thinking about that.
I think you still kind of talk to Danny, but like everyone that was in that room, I don't even talk to anymore. Like we have no form of communication. Yeah. So
that was my first time actually taping there.
Yeah,
like I was just like, I need help. She's like, yeah, cool, I can tape you. And then you happen to be there, and I was like, who is this? And she's like, I live in Jacksonville. I don't live here.
I didn't
got a
live
boyfriend. I was like, well, but not for real though. Like, that was we crossed paths.
Yeah, what is it? When preparation meets opportunity, that's when God does something.
Yeah. So.
And preparation and opportunity are on God's perfect time. So
a couple years later. Yeah.
Of course. You all right?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I was for the clapper. Yeah.
All right.
Smooth.
You like saying that? You bumping the table.
All right, one more time.
Action.
It was kind of slow. Go ahead.
Do it again.
All right.
Action.
Go 1, 2.
Action.
Yeah.
Touch. Wait, what is my line?
The power of preparation.
Give me a high five.
No. It was whack. Let's give me a kiss.